I'm Bug, and I thought that it was time to maybe introduce myself and explain a little bit about my beliefs and what I'm about. Hopefully, this isn't too long of a video to keep your attention, but just wanted to let everybody know who I am and who you're talking to and listening to and what brought me here and why I do what I do. So yeah, I just figure, start with, cold January night. No, I won't go back that far. But I was the fourth kid out of five, the third girl, and there were four of us girls. I had one brother, he was the oldest. And my parents were married the whole time I was a kid. My dad was a Baptist preacher. And while most people think that they understand what that means, I don't think my dad knew what that meant. And I was raised basically like what I found out later was like very, very cult-like. Wasn't anything official, and it was just our family, but it was very much cultish behavior. Every single day was Bible and church and Bible and church and Bible and church and church and Bible. We weren't really raised with coping mechanisms outside of read your Bible. My mom used to say, any failure is a prayer failure. So if you didn't do something, it's because you didn't pray hard enough. So if you get audited for your taxes, just pray about it. Or if you have emotional turmoil with your significant other, just, pray. That's all you need to know about life. So when I got married, I had been raised that I was supposed to be a godly wife to a godly husband who raises godly children. And that was how I was raised. There wasn't really any other value to me. My parents never said the word goals to me. They never talked to me about college. Like, as a matter of fact, it was expressly, yeah, we can't afford that, which, anyway. So very much controlled and not told that like I get to live my own life and like there's things I'm going to need to learn to get through this life. We were just very much kept in a bubble where if you stay inside the bubble, then everything we've taught you will keep you just fine. But the second you step outside that bubble, nothing applies. So yeah, it was a very strange upbringing. We were homeschooled a lot, off and on, because we moved a lot. And so if it was like the middle of the school year, they would homeschool us for the rest of it. And so my education was spotty. The interesting part about being raised with no goals and no coping skills and no boundaries and any of that is that they would still ask what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I wanted to be a teacher. And I didn't just want to be a teacher. I wanted to teach special needs kids. I wanted to teach people with disabilities, learning disabilities. I wanted to have like my own school with like boarding facilities, recreational facilities, medical facilities, anything that they would need so that they're fully supported to live the life that fulfills them best. Because typically that's not available for people with disabilities. So that was my goal, my dream, but like they never talked about college. Like they would say, oh yeah, that's great, you're a wonderful teacher. Because, by the time I was 13 or 14, I was teaching Sunday school and doing nursery. So it was very important to me to become a teacher. Like I just felt it. And so when I got married, I ended up pregnant at 20, and like right after I turned 20, pregnant at 19, married at 20. And because of the ideals that had been ingrained in me, it made me easy prey for a predator. I was trained that a wife should be a submissive woman who does what her husband says, and if he leads her astray, then because she is following her husband according to God's commandment, then she is of no wrong. That got me into a lot of situations I never wanted to be involved in. And I was very quickly taken advantage of and had no idea. Extremely just brainwashed and ingrained for a long time. And when he started bringing other women into our marriage, I went right along with it because it's what my husband wanted, and I didn't make him happy, and it was my job to make him happy and submit to what he wanted. So I went along with it. So I consented. I agreed. But I wasn't happy, and ultimately and thankfully, it ended our marriage. I found out later there were many other reasons, and as I went through therapy and healed and grew and developed the skills that I needed to develop over time, I realized just how abusive and toxic the relationship had been on a scary level. But I have 3 beautiful babies, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. And when the marriage ended and I started to heal, I had to realize the generational trauma that I had been putting on my kids, because, of course, I was raised that way and I turned out fine, right? So I raised my kids that way. Well, the first 2. There's an 8-year stretch between my second and my third, and the first 2 were definitely, to say they were raised in an unhealthy way is putting it lightly. I wouldn't go as far as to say that I abused them, but I was a spanking mom, and I was a screaming mom. Yelled everything, screamed at everything. I had no other coping mechanism. Also completely undiagnosed ADHD until I was 39. So the emotional dysregulation and not understanding why, finding out that I had CPTSD, which resulted in dissociative identity disorder, used to be known as multiple personality disorder, which also led to the emotional dysregulation. So a lot going on because of the trauma and abuse and brainwashing and indoctrination from my childhood, that I had to learn that I had propagated onto my children. I had to accept that I had become the monster who broke me, and I had to fix it. And my relationship with my oldest daughter was broken for a very long time, and we are good, and like we talk every day. Like she calls me her bestie. I definitely, we, obviously still have things to heal, but I was only able to heal and repair that because I owned like what I had become, and I had to learn all new ways to parent, because I'm raising a young man now. So I have a 9-year-old son, and he my older daughters give him a hard time, telling him, you don't even know what punishment is, you've never even had a spanking. And I mean, I try to stay light about it now, but it does break my heart the way that I failed my oldest. I wish I had known better. But we heal, and we learn, and we ask for forgiveness, and we correct the behavior. So I am doing better with my son, and I have taken so many classes and courses, and I did go to college. I went to college to be a teacher. I have a degree in early childhood education. I also have a degree in veterinary medicine, 2-year vet tech degree that I took. And so I did go to college, and I did well. And during that time, I started teaching, and I found out the politics behind teaching, and it was not. After 7 years, I finally had to admit that it was not what I had dreamed of as a kid. And I let it go, and I moved on to animal medicine, and ended up pregnant with my son. And when he was born, I ended up staying home. But right after he was born, about 7, 8 months after he was born, me and my ex split. And it was a moment I never thought would happen. And it probably only lasted as long as it did because he worked out of town most of the time. But when it ended, I was devastated. I was broken and destroyed. I had no idea what I was gonna do. I had no idea. I hadn't been allowed to like really work for a while. I was, doing odd jobs and stuff. But yeah, I ended up in a situation where I didn't have a job. I only was able to pay the bills because of what he had paid for. We had been evicted out of homes and had vehicles repossessed, and we had been, yeah, it was just bad. And so when we split, I was literally starting from scratch. And I did it. I pulled all my broken pieces together. I went to a festival where a friend had been inviting me, and I enjoyed it. I had fun, but I met a couple people there that opened my eyes to the difference between religion and spirituality. And I realized that I had certain gifts that I had had from the time I was a child. My mom used to always say I had healing hands. And it's funny because she used to have like straight up prophetic dreams. Like literally would have a dream, tell us about it, it would come true. Insane. But magic was of the devil. So I didn't delve into that. I didn't think anything about it except for I could provide comfort to people by being comforting. So things started ringing true to me. Doors started opening. I started having realizations and understandings that I had been privy to conversations that I had nodded and smiled about as though I understood, and it felt true, but I didn't know what anybody was talking about. And I had a friend recommend the book The Alchemist to me and the book The Four Agreements. And it definitely opened my world. And I just kept going, and I kept meeting people along the way that fed this. I was so hungry for all of this knowledge, and I began looking into tarot. I was very drawn to divination. I was very drawn to healing and energy. I had been doing energy work my whole life and didn't even know that that's what I was doing. And so I built these gifts in myself, and I was able to do so because I had done the healing work. And when I had done the healing work, and I'm still healing, and I will probably be a healing person my whole life, but when I had done the healing work and I had grown my gifts and done the due diligence behind the skills, so like I am an herbalist, and I did not just start throwing plants down my throat. I studied to be an herbalist. I went and received level 1 and 2 Reiki attunements and certifications. So I'm a level 2 certified Reiki practitioner. I have taken courses on life coaching and counseling and all sorts of. I have so many certifications. I should probably pull all of those out and put them up at some point, but I wanted to make sure that like I understood everything that I was doing. And I got myself to a point where I was working, taking care of my kids, paying my bills, paying for my car, my house. I was doing it all by myself. And granted, there was sometimes child support, but it wasn't something that was regular. I couldn't count on it. So I couldn't budget on it. So when I met my current partner, I was very happy. I was growing and learning and spending time with people who were growing and learning, being surrounded by that level of light after having been in the dark for so long was exhilarating. And I did everything. I went to festivals, I went to lectures and cons, and I joined groups that were involved around putting together these festivals. I joined a choir and ended up becoming the president. I was the art lead for the Burning Man regional events in Boise, Idaho. I was a volunteer with the Allies Linked for the Prevention of HIV and AIDS. I coached my 2 kids softball team, started my own cleaning business, was working with 2 home health care clients. So yeah, I'm also a certified nursing assistant. Oh yeah, and working construction. I do drywall too. And I was good. And when I met this man, he kind of blew my world up, and I was like, oh, no, I'm good. I don't need that. And it took me a while to settle into it, but because I was good, I felt safe getting into that. That's what it took, because I knew I had gotten here all on my own. And not that there weren't people along the way that helped and supported me, but I did this thing and I can do it again. So no matter what happens, I'll be all right. So we move in together, and after a couple of years, his job is moving us out of state. And I have been building this community, this tribe, or not building, but yeah, for myself, but it was existing. There was, a lot of people existing in this space together. And I kept finding people would reach out to me, asking advice, asking for help. And I would have them come over and we would talk, and I would make them food and tea or coffee, and we would pull cards and do Reiki massages, and they would leave lighter, easier, more at peace. And it made me feel so good. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. Why can't I just do this and have it support my life? And my boyfriend goes, why can't you? And so the Wellness Center was born. I want this to be a place out of space and time where people can come to heal and grow and be accepted for exactly who they are in that moment, with room to grow. I want to have tea and tarot and art therapy and yoga and meditation. Oh yeah, I've been taking a meditation teaching course too. Sound healing. I do sound bowls as well. Like everything that I have gained along the path, because there were so many things that I thought I would be and do, and they've all led to right here, to this, to who I have become. And I've done it for a reason. I've done it because I'm meant to. I've done it because I am here to find the people who were me, the people who just need someone to speak these truths with them so they hear them, they recognize them, they resonate with them, and they follow that thread. I want to activate activators. I want to start a ripple that starts a ripple, that starts a ripple, that starts a ripple. I want to help people heal. So here we've come full circle, back to my dream of being a teacher. And every time I felt my world was broken, it was because I was being moved on to the next thing I needed to get right here. So this is me. Are you awake yet? Are you struggling to heal so that you can do the things you know you're meant to do? I've been there. And I want to help you. I really, really, really want to help you. So here I am. Come join me. It's really fucking cool here.